Hello, hello, hello. My name is Jack Taylor, and you have reached Imagine Easter Part 18. Well, we've got a few days until the Friday that changed the world, so I want to back off a bit and look at a character that we might not associate with Easter. We've looked at Judas, the dark side of Easter. Let's look at Zacchaeus. I mean, he's even higher up on the tax collector hierarchy than Matthew. He's a chief tax collector in charge of the area near Jericho, which is a prime place to collect revenue from pilgrims, from traders, from caravans that are heading up to Jerusalem. It's a gateway for everyone who's traveling. Zacchaeus is large in wealth, but he's small in stature. It's Passover time, and tens of thousands of pilgrims are coming through his toll booth. Zacchaeus is like a grizzly at the peak of the salmon run. He's ready to gorge on the profits of his place in society. Now, Jesus is taking his last walk through this city on his way to the cross. On the road, he's been telling his disciples straight up that he's going to be killed. Those following him are filled with fear, but they're still following. We're going to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be delivered to the chief priests and the teachers of the law, Jesus says. They will condemn him to death and will hand him over to the Gentiles, who will mock him and spit on him, flog him, and kill him. 3 days later, he will rise. Now, this is the third time Jesus has foretold clearly what will happen. The first time, you may remember, Peter rebukes him, so Jesus tells his followers they need to take up their own cross. The second time, the disciples break into a debate about who is the greatest, so Jesus tells them the first shall be last. The third time, James and John step up and try to use their relationship as cousins of Jesus to stake their claim to positions of prominence in his coming kingdom. And Jesus responds by calling his followers to servant leadership, just being slaves of all. Why is it so hard to hear what Jesus is calling us to when we step out to follow him? Do you ever have hesitation at something you know God is asking of you? I think most of us are so busy thinking of what we want to ask him and what we want to ask him for that we don't always stop to think of what he is asking us for. In back-to-back stories, Mark tells us that Jesus asks the question, "What do you want me to do for you?" James and John ask for prominence and glory. Blind Bartimaeus calls out for mercy and sight. Well, Jesus is on his way to the cross, and the strain and drain continue as people call on him for favors. So Jesus passes through Jericho, and he sees the little tax collector perched in a tree watching. "Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today." Plot twist. Now the Son of God is asking a despised man for hospitality. But Zacchaeus obliges happily. All those on the outside mutter, "He's gone to be the guest of a sinner." What is it about us that is so self-focused that we miss on sharing the joy of another who enjoys the favor of God for a moment? Look at how Zacchaeus responds. "Lord, Lord, here and now I give half my possessions to the poor, and if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I'll pay back 4 times the amount." So Jesus has been through this city several times. This is his last pass. What an amazing thing that someone so despised and envied would step up at the last moment to join God's family. And Jesus says to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost." This is the context for this great verse. The Son of Man has come to seek and to save the lost, a highlight for Easter. So, okay, things are starting to make sense. He's after the lost. He's after prodigal sons and unwanted tax collectors, prostitutes, the blind, the lame, the forsaken, People who need help and hope and healing? Yes, but Easter reminds us of something else. We are all lost. We all need help and hope and healing. When Jesus asks, "What do you want me to do for you?" some of us are aware of the need to be found, and some of us aren't. Some of us who walk closest to Jesus for the longest of times lose awareness of how we're still lost in key areas of our life. Easter's calling us to hear the heart of the one who calls us to be the servant of all, to be cross bearers, to be hope bringers, people who see the need around us and who step out to sacrifice and meet it. The joy of our salvation calls us for extravagant generosity. It calls for humble pleas of mercy. It calls for commitment to walk each step toward the path that is still ahead. Join me tomorrow as we look at one more part in the journey toward imagining Easter. God bless you.